Hello YouTube, what's going on? My name is Dominik from Team Purple Haze, and today I got Crystrons for you. I got a combo guide and a deck profile at the end because I read the comments and you asked for deck lists, so this time I will include one at the end and I will say a little bit about that deck list and what the deck can maybe change from that. But yeah, this time I've got 3 combos for you, like the basic 1-card starter, a little 2-card starter, and the Terrortop combo. So these are like the standard pure Crystron builds. They are like Asamina, Kashtira, and Feedsmith stuff and all that. But I will focus mainly on the Crystron stuff. And yes, I think this deck will have great potential. We already seen some regionals where it topped, and I feel like the deck can actually perform well in the upcoming format, especially now in the SUDA format. And I'm going to show you what this deck can do. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor.
Now a shout out to our sponsors, the first one being Graad, the best grading company in Europe based in PIANETA in Milan. The second one is CARDTRADER, the online marketplace platform where you'll find the cards you need at market price in one shipment only. Create your account using the link right here. The third one, Game to Collect, is one of the top Italian sellers on the market, specializing in high rarity American cards, gold format and misprints. They also collect your cards up to 85% of their value. Next one is Magician Circle, a local store in Trieste specialized in sealed and custom products. They also host events for all TCGs. Then shout out to GameLover, your favorite place based in Crema, where you can eat, play card games, table games, and also video games. Next we got ALIANDY, your go-to place in San Giovanni Lupatotto, where you can find mangas, comics, board games, singles, and tournaments for all TCGs. Then a shout out to Planet Fun, the best place to go in Rovato for weekly tournaments for all TCGs. Last local store we have is Gamerland, based in ABBIATEGRASso, Lombardy's best shop to buy singles, sealed, and play weekly tournaments. Then we have CHAPA'S Playmats. They produce amazing custom playmat that may have your own image on them. Last but not least, we have Dragon Inc. They produce our official PA jerseys and cloth mats. All their links are in the description down below, so don't forget to check them out.
So let's head straight into the very first combo, which just uses Crystron Inclusion. It's a permanent spell which just on activation searches a Crystron card from your deck. It's on field, it protects your Crystrons from being destroyed the first time in each round. And also it can reborn once it is engraved, so it does a lot for just one card. That's why it's like one of the better cards this deck got. So let's see what this one card can do. So obviously we're going to start by activating it, and we're going to search the Solfador. And Solfador can destroy a card on field if it's in hand or graveyard, and then special summon itself. But after that you're locked into machines from the extra deck for the rest of the turns. So we're going to use it, we're going to pop the inclusion, and then use the on-summon effect of Solfador, which sends up to 2 Crystron cards with different names from your deck to the graveyard. So for this, we're gonna send the Solfafnir, and the Tystvern. These names are horrible. Tystvern, I'm not quite sure you say it. Now we're gonna use the graveyard effect of, I'm just gonna call it Tystvern, sorry. So Tystvern searches the Tristaros, which is the new tuner, this deck card. This is really nice because it will always be part of your end board, because every time your opponent activates a card or effect, or like once per turn, you can special summon Crystron from deck, accept itself, and then synchro summon. And also you can bench this card from graveyard, destroy 1 synchro you control, and we can special summon 2 back. So basically like a mini soul charge, or trades 1 synchro on your field for 2 other synchro monsters. And then we're gonna just normal summon it and go straight into the Neo Synchro Eles Skeletus, like Skeletus with Eles davor, Ile Skeletus, I'm not sure. Which is kind of nice because it has like an attack and defense modifier, which is continuous. So your monsters will always be a little bit stronger than your opponents. And if it's summoned, synchro summoned, you can add 1 Crystron card from your graveyard or banishment to your hand. And once this one is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 from your grave or banishment. So you see with Tristaros effect, you can pop it, bring back 2, and this one revives another 1. Kinda nice. You turn 1 body into 3. So we're just gonna add the Tystvern and then use the Tristaros, pop it, and then special summon Smyger and Soul Fafnir now from deck. And then use Elescalatos to bring back the third monster, which is Tristaros. Now we're going to use the Inclusion spell in Graveyard and go into Solfador. And now we're going to see the Cyber Dragon Nova and Infinity line. It's so free in this deck, you can always use it. It's normally negate, pretty nice. Next up, we're going to use the Graveyard effect of Soul Fafnir. We're going to discard one card and special summon it. And then we're going to use the other effects, because when it's summoned, you have to destroy a card you control, and you can destroy itself. And then if it's destroyed, we can special summon one from deck. So now Rosenix will do pretty similar stuff. We're going to target one face-up card you control and then destroy it and special summon a Crystron from deck, which is Citri. Also another tuner, and your main or battle phase from your opponent you can just synchro summon. And then we use Smyger's Graveyard effect to add the cluster, and cluster is really nice because first of all it says you can they cannot be banished by your opponent's card effects, and the other effect is you can target one face-up card on the field or target two if you control a Crystron synchro. Shuffle one Crystron card from a graveyard or banishment to the deck, so you see the deck has already a lot of recovery built in it. Then we can pop these cards, yeah. So like one or two pop, it's nice. And this will be like one of your most standard end boards. And then when you pass your opponent and they activate effect, you can use Tristaros and synchro summon during opponent's turn, and use multiple effects like the big Crystron banishes cards, and we have another one that books cards, and there's the Navy Storm Dragon mech, which is a synchro 9, which is just a pop once it's summoned. So you have a lot of different options, a lot of ways to stop your opponent. But yeah, that's like the very first standard combo, and I'm gonna hop into the next one. Okay, let's get straight into the next combo. So this one showcases another engine this deck can play to access all of the Crystron stuff, which is Terrortop. We all love Terrortop. It's a good card, it's back to 3. So let's see how we can access the whole Crystron engine and do the combo with just one Terrortop. So I'm going to start by special summoning it, and we're going to add the Tarkaton Borg. And now we can special summon this one, and we go into Cherubini. Who would have guessed? So Cherubini will send Smyger this time, and then Smyger can activate its effect to search the inclusion. And at this point, as you remember from the first combo, we didn't use our normal summon until we got the Tristaros, so we can do the same combo from here on now. So we're going to keep on doing the same stuff as before. We're going to use inclusion to search Solfador, pop, special, and then send 2 cards. This time we're going to send the cluster. Remember in the first one we searched cluster via Smyger, but this time we use Smyger to access our combo. So we're going to dump the cluster to add it back later on. And the second one, the Twistworm. Now we're going to search the Tristaros, we normal summon it, and we're going to do the synchro play. So this one will add back the cluster, so we have earlier access to it, which is quite nice. Then we can use Tristaros, pop, and summon and summon. This time we go earlier into the Rosenix, which is totally fine. Then we use Elescalatos, I will never pronounce these right, and summon back the Tristaros. Now we use inclusion, bring back the Solfador, and go into Infinity again. So up on here it's pretty simple, it's basically the same, but we can pop the Cherubini now with Rosenix and summon the Citri. And we're going to set the cluster. So we're going to be able to end on pretty much the same board, which is quite nice, and I really like it, because we're going to do later on in the deck profile, you'll see which synchro monsters are available to do in your opponent's turn, and I will tell you something about that. But from the looks of it, it's basically the same, and this is basically how you want to end your combos most of the time. So that's it for the second combo. Now we're gonna do one combo, because you notice that Infinity comes rather late in this combo, to showcase how you can access it earlier in the combo, so you're Nibiru proof, which is quite important because Nibiru is still very prominent to this day. Alright, this time we're gonna have a rather specific 2-card combo, but it's fine because you're playing multiples of both of these. So you're gonna access it rather simple, and I'm gonna showcase what these two together can do. So first up, we're gonna discard to special summon Solfafnir. Now we're gonna pop itself via its effect and special summon Solfador from deck. And now we're gonna use Solfador to dump Smyger and Cluster. Because you see we're missing the inclusion spells, we use Smyger and Cluster. So basically every time we're missing the spell, we use Smyger Cluster to send. And if you're not missing the spell, we use Smyger plus something else. But yeah, so we're gonna use Smyger and search inclusion, and inclusion will add the effect, and you notice this time we have this one on board before we activate the inclusion. Now before we normal summon, remember this is summon number 2. You're gonna use the graveyard effect of Solfador, bring it back, summon number 3, and now we go into Nova, summon number 4, and Infinity, summon number 5. So you're Nibiru proof for Neo now, and you didn't even use the normal summon. And even if you have like one summon more and your Nova is on board as a 5th summon and they decide to Nibiru that because they don't want Infinity to hit the board, this deck has the extra deck space to play the invoked Mechaba in the extra deck. So even if they nib or get rid of the Nova, you still have the option to get into an Omni Negate before you start to play. So that's quite nice. Okay, next we're gonna normal summon Tristaros and use the spell to bring back the Solfafnir. We do the typical synchro summon into Skeletus. This one will add back the cluster, so we have one more interruption. And Tristaros pop to special summon 2 monsters, Tristaros and Tisvan. So notice we want Tristaros and the end board, so we're always trying to keep one on field. And especially now, if your opponent tries to do something, you have Infinity Negate, you have Tristaros to summon something, so you're basically trying to keep this one alive on board as much as possible. And we bring back the second one, and we use Tisvan to pop and special summon C3. So now we have a lot of tuners on board, and we're going to set the cluster. So at this point we have multiple options, because first of all, I didn't even use the Tisvan here. You can banish this card from grave, add one CRYSTRON monster from deck to your hand, but you basically have all the ones that you need in rotation, so you can just keep it for follow-up and search what you need for the follow-up turn. So now Tristaros has the option to summon one, and also one of the big synchros from the Crystrons needs 2 tuners. So at this point we have 3, and we can use one for one synchro summon and the other one for the big one. So we basically have all the package available as we speak. So that's it for the combos. Let's hop into the deck profile. I'm gonna say a few words about that. Okay, so basically this is the deck profile that I've been working on right now, and I'm gonna tell you a few things about this. So first up, you see that there's a few cards that were not used in the combo, which is Brasiorto, basically the green turtle, but it serves the same purpose as Rosenix with a different level. So sometimes you just need a different level. You can use Brasiorto at the end on the end board, or special summon it to synchro summon. So this is just another name that you can use. Then we have the Speedride engine, and you see that we have the Regulus. And Regulus is basically available by special summoning River Stormer instead of the Cyber Dragon Infinity. This version is able to play both of them, so most of the time you're going to access one of them in your turn, and then one for the follow-up turn. So it's basically like using 2 level 5s for 2 different kind of negates. Yeah, but Regulus is a nice card. It's a 1 card. Even if you hard roll it, you have a lot of machines obviously in your deck. So it's basically a free Omni Negate. Then obviously we're going to use 3 inclusion, 1 cluster. There are a few lists, like very few, that I saw that use 2 of this. just for grind games. But I feel like in a deck that is so tailored and focused on going first, that you actually only need the one. You want to build your board and then be able to OTK in the next turn. But besides that, I'm just put here 9 hand traps like Ash, Veiler, Imperum. Generically good use. The next card is Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is a 1-card starter by sending Spiger, banish, add inclusion, and then you can do the same combo from the second replay. And also Droplet is nice because a lot of your speed Crystrons have options to activate in the graveyard, so you basically have 3 discards. Talents is iffy, I would say, because right now I see some decks using less hand traps, some decks I see more, but obviously this is not tailored to go first. It's weird to say because I didn't play Talents because I think it's good going first. I played Talents because it's a great card going second, and this deck lacks a little bit of punch going second because they have very little access to their own engine. If like Sulfador, if Sulfador gets negated, it's hard to do hardly anything. So you want to get your Sulfador through as much as possible. And even if it gets negated, you have Talents to then keep on playing. So Talents is basically like a non-hand trap that works very well going for a second. But you can obviously change a lot of this. The ratios are pretty simple. You want 3 Tristaros, you want 3 Smiger, 2 Sulfador, and 3 Sulfafnir. Personally, you can play Sulfador at 3. I liked it more at 2, and you can also play Sulfafnir on 2, but I liked it more on 3. This is just from a little bit of testing. I didn't play this deck as much as I would like to because I'm missing the real life cards, a few of them, so I'm not quite sure. I just tested a little bit on Dueling Book and this worked quite well. Another thing that you can do is you can cut the talents and add another hand trap like Nibiru. Veiler, Imperum, Ash, I feel like are the 3 most important ones. A lot of decks it used to play Bell because of all the Bestials, but your whole deck is a water, so you're not really scared of Bestials, so you don't need to protect yourself, and Bell going second into a lot of decks is not that great. I'd much rather have Ash, Veiler, Imperum than Bell. But yeah, other than that, Droplet, if you play a lot of hand traps, yes, you decrease your hand size, but it doesn't matter as much because the Crystrons can play from grave. It's basically like the Orcus idea, if you know what I mean. But let's talk about the extra deck a little bit. So first off, we got the Clockwork Knight, the new Link 1. You see that all the Crystrons will lock you into machines from the extra deck, and sometimes you just need to get a body into the graveyard, like normal summon Smiger, and then you need to get it in grave. So Clockwork, Smiger, it's an option to keep on playing with that, and you have your SP Little Knight, just generic stuff. River Stormer is to access the Regulus and the Cyber Dragon package because it's just a free access for an Omni Negate. Next up, we got the Dawn Dragster. I personally would like to play 2. Not because you're lacking the Omni Negates or Spell or Trap Negates, but more like you don't have a lot of great machine targets in the extra deck. And Dawn Dragster is basically one of the best. First of all, it modulates its level, which is great for Crystron, so you can punch out the higher level synchros. Second of all, it's a negate. And it's a machine. There's this card. This card is weird because usually you would like to play the OG Stardust Dragon in Conundrum with this, but I didn't found quite yet the space to fit it in. It's either these 2 and 1 Dawn Dragster, like you can do Stardust. The idea behind this is you can easily access Satellite Warrior because during your opponent's turn you're most likely not locked into machines, and this is an option to then pop a lot of cards. and have a big body on board. Like Satellite Warrior is great. Then Illuskeletos is like the main Crystron synchro monster, which is great. Honestly, that card is awesome. It does so much for the deck. Then we have the big one, Quarion Gundrax. I feel like I nailed that one. And if this one is synchro summoned, you can target monsters your opponent controls or in a graveyard up to a number of synchro materials used for the synchro summon, banish them. And if this one is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one banished monster and special summon it to your field. Yeah, like even opponent's monsters, which is quite nice. And also you can trigger it by yourself via Tristors. Like, this is such a good card. Then there's the debate to play one of these. Like, Quandox is basically a level 4 monster that you can access via Presiorto and Tristaros. And then this one does the same as Tristaros, like you can synchro summon during your opponent's turn. And if this one is destroyed, you can special summon a Crystron in graveyard, special summon it, except the synchro. And the other one is Amatrix. Amatrix is level 5, which is basically accessible via Citri, Tisvern, Smyga, and stuff like this. And this one, if this is summoned, you can book all of your opponent's monsters. So this one is to climb higher in your synchros, and this one is to have another interruption. What I would like to do is this. Like, these two are great, especially because with this combo, your opponent cannot really interact with the Satellite Warrior because of the excess synchro Stardust Dragon. It's unaffected. Yeah, and the Invoked Blackharbor is here if they ever get rid of the Nova. The extra deck is basically simple. You don't have to invest that much into it. And I feel like if you play this deck, you can have a lot of success. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it might need a little bit of practice. When I first picked up this deck, it's not as easy as it looked like. You're gonna have a few mistakes and realize them afterwards. But that's it. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. And yeah, I think that's it for the video. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. I will read them, and if possible, I will answer them. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.